The day my mother chose my twin brother over me wasn't marked by a dramatic confrontation or stormy skies. Instead, it unfolded over a quiet afternoon tea, served in delicate china cups alongside the same lemon squares she'd baked since we were children. I'm Nora, and this is the story of how I lost my inheritance, but gained something far greater. Alec has always been more financially responsible, my mother stated, stirring her tea with careful precision. He's the logical choice to handle your father's estate. The lemon square crumbled like dust on my tongue. Across the polished mahogany table, my brother shifted in his chair, the glint of his expensive watch catching the light. Though we were twins, born mere minutes apart, those minutes had somehow stretched into a lifetime of favoritism. Mom, Alec began cautiously, maybe we should. It's already settled, she interrupted, her tone leaving no room for argument. The papers are signed. Your father's gallery will officially be transferred to Alec next week. My grip tightened around my teacup. That gallery was supposed to be mine, a space where I could bring my art to life, fulfilling the dream Dad and I had shared before cancer took him away. I've been running my own studio for years, I said, keeping my voice steady. I've never missed rent, never needed financial help. Exactly, Mom replied smoothly, you're independent. Alec needs this opportunity to grow. My best friend Evangeline's words from last week rang in my mind. Your mom has a blind spot for Alec the size of Texas. I had defended her then. Now, I wished I hadn't. What about my art? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Mom's lips pressed into a thin line. Art is a lovely passion, dear, but it's not a practical career. Alec has a solid plan for the gallery, a luxury retail development, something sustainable. I turned to my brother, searching for the boy who once snuck me cookies when I was sent to bed without dinner for drawing on the walls. Instead, I saw a man in a tailored suit, more interested in his manicured nails than the conversation. Congratulations, Alec, I said, pushing back my chair. The scrape of wood against the floor made Mom wince. I hope you enjoy turning Dad's legacy into a high-end shopping mall. Nora, she snapped, don't be so dramatic. This is best for everyone. No, I countered, slinging my bag over my shoulder. It's best for Alec, as always. Where are you going? To my studio, you know, the one I built on my own. The door didn't slam. It closed with a soft click, somehow more final than a loud bang could ever be. Outside, the sun was warm on my skin, a cruel contrast to the chill settling in my chest. My phone buzzed. Evangeline, how did it go? I typed back, remember when you told me to stop expecting Mom to see me? You were right. The typing bubbles appeared, then disappeared, then, come over, I have wine and a plan. That's the thing about rock bottom, it makes a damn good foundation to build on, and I was ready to build something incredible. 3 months later, at 2 a.m., I stood on a wobbly stepladder, stringing lights across the ceiling of my studio for what I hoped would be my first real exhibition. Well, potential exhibition, I muttered to myself. I still needed to convince someone to actually display my work. If you fall and break your neck, I'm keeping your good paintbrushes, Evangeline called from below, untangling a mess of extension cords. If I fall and die, sell my paintings, they'll be worth more, I shot back, securing another hook. She hesitated. Speaking of money, have you heard from your mom? I climbed down, wiping paint-streaked hands on my jeans. Only through Alec's Instagram. They're meeting with architects about revitalizing Dad's gallery. Unbelievable, Evangeline scowled, then brightened. But hey, look at this place, you've turned it into something incredible. She wasn't wrong. The studio had come alive over the past months. I'd pulled double shifts at the coffee shop, taught evening art classes, and painted endless commissions to fund every inch of it. My phone buzzed from the paint-splattered table. Unknown number. Hello? A confident yet warm voice answered. Is this Nora? This is Brent Pearson from the Edge Gallery. My heart stopped. The Edge Gallery, the kind of place that launched artists' careers. I had sent them my portfolio last week in a fit of wild hope. Yes, I managed, gripping the phone tighter. I hope you don't mind the late call. I just finished reviewing your work, and I couldn't wait until morning. Your piece Inheritance, the one with the burning house reflected in the tea set, it's extraordinary. That painting had spilled out of me the night my mother made her choice. And now, it might be the reason the world finally saw me. I had used Dad's old tea set as inspiration, the same one Mom had placed those lemon squares on that day. Thank you, I said, trying to keep my voice professional despite my heart hammering in my chest. I'm glad it resonated with you. Resonated is an understatement, Brent said. Listen, we've had an unexpected opening next month. One of our artists had to pull out. Would you be interested in showcasing your collection? Evangeline, who had been watching me intently, was now practically vibrating with excitement. I tightened my grip on the ladder to keep myself steady. I'd love to, I replied, proud of how even my voice sounded. When would you like to meet? We scheduled a meeting for the following morning. As soon as I hung up, Evangeline lunged at me. Well, she demanded, her eyes wide with anticipation. The Edge Gallery wants to feature my work next month. Her shriek could have shattered glass. This is it, your big break. She grabbed my hands and twirled me in a circle. We have to celebrate. Wine. No, champagne. I can't, I said, already moving toward my easel. I still need 3 more pieces to fill the exhibit. I have to start now. Evangeline's joy dimmed slightly. Nora, you've been working nonstop for months. One night of celebration won't. I can't stop, Eve, not yet. I picked up a brush, rolling it between my fingers. Mom and Alec think art is just a phase. They're probably picking out luxury fixtures for their boutique mall right now, laughing at me. I need to prove them wrong. You don't owe them proof of anything. I do, I said softly, turning to my paints, and I need to prove it to myself, too. My phone buzzed. Alec. Mom's asking if you're coming to Sunday dinner. She's making your favorite pasta. I held up the message for Evangeline to see. She scoffed. Classic guilt trip. I typed back, can't. Deadline for a big project. The response came immediately. Come on, sis, she's crying. I exhaled sharply. No, she's pretending nothing happened. Different thing. I set my phone aside and focused on the blank canvas in front of me, a space filled with both possibility and pressure. Go home, Eve, I murmured, get some rest. And let you work yourself into exhaustion? Not happening. She plopped into a chair, propping her feet up on my supply cart. I'll stay. Someone has to make sure you don't drink the paint water again. That happened once. Once was enough, my friend. I dipped my brush into deep cobalt, the rhythm of painting grounding me. With each stroke, I felt myself pulling further from that tea party, further from Mom's dismissal, further from being the afterthought twin. Evangeline hummed softly, the only other sound the gentle scratch of charcoal against canvas. A familiar warmth settled over me, and I smiled, recalling something Dad always said. Art isn't just about what you create, sweetheart, it's about what creates you. Right now, my art was built on sheer determination, and, if I was honest, a touch of vengeance. The Edge Gallery smelled of fresh paint and opportunity. Brett led me through the space, his excitement evident as we arranged each piece. The lighting on this one is perfect, he said, stepping back to admire Inheritance. It looks like the teacups are actually smoldering. I adjusted the frame. That's the idea, beauty and destruction, all at once. Speaking of destruction, a new voice called from the entrance. I hear you're about to shake up the local art scene. I turned to see a tall man in a sleek charcoal blazer leaning against the doorframe. A press badge hung from his neck, but his sharp gaze had already catalogued the entire room. Nora, meet Nicholas Clark, Brent introduced, the city's toughest art critic. And it's most charming, Nicholas added with a smirk as he stepped closer, inspecting Inheritance, but at the moment, I'm more interested in being its most impressed. This piece is extraordinary. A warm flush crept up my neck. Thank you, The gallery door chimed again. My words died in my throat. Alex stood there, effortlessly polished in his designer suit, looking wildly out of place. Surprise, sis, he spread his arms. Thought I'd check out your little art show. Brent and Nicholas exchanged glances as an unspoken tension settled over the room. How did you even know about this? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. Mom's been watching your Instagram. The gallery tagged you in their upcoming show's post. He wandered toward one of my paintings, tilting his head. Interesting, what's this supposed to be? It's about betrayal, I said smoothly. I think you'd find it relatable. Nicholas coughed, barely concealing his laughter. Alex sighed, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. Look, I actually came to offer an olive branch. We're opening the shopping complex next month in Dad's old gallery. Mom and I thought, maybe we could display some of your work in the lobby. His audacity nearly knocked the breath from my lungs. You want to hang my art in the building you stole from me? We didn't steal anything, he countered. Mom made a business decision. A business decision? I clenched the edge of a nearby table, my knuckles whitening. That's what you're calling choosing you over me, again? Nicholas cleared his throat. Perhaps I should step out for a moment. No, I said firmly, keeping my eyes on Alec. Stay, my brother was just leaving. Alec sighed dramatically and pulled out his wallet. Fine, maybe I'll buy one of these instead. Show my support. They're not for sale. His brow lifted. Everything has a price, Nora. Not to you, and not to Mom. His facade cracked for just a second before he snapped his wallet shut. Fine, but when this whole artistic fantasy of yours falls apart, don't come crying to us. Nicholas took a step forward. Mr. Alec, is it? I've been critiquing art for 15 years, and your sister's work is far from a fantasy. It's powerful, technically stunning, and deeply moving. He pulled out his phone. In fact, I'm writing my review right now. Alec's jaw tightened. She's my twin. I think I know her better than you do. Do you? I asked quietly, because the brother I knew would never have taken something that meant this much to me. Silence stretched between us. Finally, Alec straightened his tie. The lobby offer still stands, he said stiffly. Mom would be happy. Then he turned and walked out. As soon as the door clicked shut, Brent let out a low whistle. Well, that was dramatic. I'm sorry, I began, but Nicholas held up a hand. Don't be. That little family drama just gave me even more insight into your work. He nodded toward inheritance, eyes sharp with understanding. Now I see where the depth comes from, the hurt, the betrayal, the transformation of something fragile into something unbreakable. His fingers flew over his phone. This review is practically writing itself. You're actually covering my show? I asked, disbelief creeping into my voice. Nicholas met my gaze, serious and unwavering. Nora, your work demands to be seen, discussed, remembered, and after meeting your brother, I understand exactly why your paintings hit so hard. This isn't just art, it's a reckoning. Brent clapped his hands together. Speaking of, the opening's in 2 days. Ready for the world to see this? I thought of Alec's condescending smirk, of Mom keeping tabs on me through social media instead of real conversations, of Dad's gallery, erased and replaced with boutiques. I lifted my chin, more than ready. As we finished arranging the last pieces, I caught Nicholas lingering by inheritance again. You know, he mused, hands in his pockets, sometimes the best revenge isn't payback, it's success. A slow smile spread across my face as I looked at the gallery walls, my work, my truth, laid bare in one of the city's most prestigious spaces. Who says I can't do both? Sunday dinner was yet another attempt by Mom to restore the illusion of normalcy. I only agreed to come because Evangeline swore she'd lock me out of my own studio if I didn't at least try to handle this like an adult. The salmon is good, I said, poking at it with my fork. The dining room felt suffocating, all polished wood and expensive silence. I'm glad you came, Mom said, refilling my wine glass without asking. It's been too long. Alec cleared his throat. Speaking of things we've been meaning to share, the contractors found Dad's old sketches in the gallery storage. We kept them for you. I set my fork down, expression unreadable. How generous of you, to hand me Dad's drawings after taking his gallery. Nora, Mom warned, her voice tight. I leaned back in my chair. No, let's talk about it. Let's discuss how you're gutting Dad's legacy to build a shopping mall. It's not a mall, Alec corrected, ever the businessman. It's a high-end retail experience. Dad built that gallery for artists. I shot back, to give people like me a platform. Mom's lips pressed together. Your father also believed in financial stability, something Alec understands. Right, I murmured, unlocking my phone. Like how his stability includes funding delays and budget overruns? Alec stiffened. What are you talking about? Oh, I keep up with your investors on social media. They're not happy. I swiped to another post. Especially considering you've been gallivanting around Europe instead of fixing it. Mom's face lost its color. Alec, you told me everything was on track. It is, he insisted, tugging at his collar. There were some unexpected costs. Like the new Porsche? Or the yacht rental? I asked, feigning innocence. Alec's grip on his wine glass tightened. That was for networking. Mom slammed her hand down, rattling the dishes. Enough, Nora, whatever game you think you're playing. No games, just reality. I folded my napkin neatly. You handed Alec the inheritance because he's supposedly good with money. I'm just questioning your definition of good. Silence thickened the air. My exhibition opens next week, I said, pushing my chair back. I'd invite you both, but I wouldn't want to interfere with Alec's networking. Mom's voice snapped after me. Sit down, We're not done. I grabbed my coat. Actually, we are. But hey, when Alex's upscale retail experience crashes, Dad's sketches might finally be worth something. Hold on to them. I reached the front door before Mom caught up. Why are you doing this? She demanded. Why can't you just accept the choices I've made? I turned, meeting her eyes head on, because they were the wrong choices, and you know it. You've always picked Alec over me, you just can't admit you were wrong. I wasn't wrong, she whispered, but doubt flickered in her expression. Nicholas Clark is covering my exhibition, I told her. He says my work is important, that it's brilliant, that it matters. That's wonderful, she said hesitantly, reaching for me. I stepped back. Don't pretend to be proud now, you had your chance to believe in me, and you didn't. I gestured toward the dining room, where Alec sat, likely texting his damage control team. You always made sure he had everything, I said quietly, but I never even got a chance. I walked out, the door clicking shut behind me like the final note of an old, unfinished song. As I reached my car, my phone vibrated. Evangeline, how'd it go? Me, said my piece, possibly started a family war. Evangeline, that's my girl, whine. Me, no, I need to paint. Back in my studio, I reached for a blank canvas. This time, I wasn't painting anger, or revenge. I was painting something new. Something that had always been there, waiting to be uncovered. A transformation. A rebirth. Not because I needed to prove anything, but because I could. My phone buzzed again. Nicholas, just finished my review, want a sneak peek? I hesitated, brush hovering over the canvas. Me, will it make me cry? Nicholas, probably, but in a good way. Me, send it. As I read his words, his understanding of my work, his praise, his belief in my future, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't about proving Mom wrong anymore. It was about proving me right. I painted through the night, turning loss into strength. Betrayal into beauty. By sunrise, I realized I wasn't just creating art anymore. I was writing my own story. And this time, I was the masterpiece. I reached for my phone, but Nicholas gently lowered my hand. No distractions. This is your moment, be in it. Before I could argue, Brent barreled toward me, practically buzzing with excitement. 3 pieces sold in the first 30 minutes. I can barely slap red dots on fast enough. Across the gallery, a small crowd had gathered around Inheritance. An older woman in pearls dabbed her eyes with a tissue. It moves me, she murmured, the way something fragile endures despite the destruction. It's about family, isn't it? About betrayal and resilience? I was about to approach her when the air shifted. My stomach tightened as I spotted Alec at the entrance, his suit wrinkled, his usual confidence replaced with something closer to desperation. Nora, he called, too loud, drawing attention, we need to talk. Evangeline stepped forward, but I caught her arm. It's fine, I've got this. I led Alec to a quieter corner, away from watchful eyes. Up close, I noticed the dark circles under his. You're making a scene at my show, I said, voice low. What do you want? He exhaled sharply. The development project, it's falling apart. The investors are pulling out. I know, I folded my arms. Your main investor's wife follows me on Instagram. She loved my post about Dad's gallery getting bulldozed for luxury boutiques. His jaw tightened. I need your help. If I don't secure new funding by next month, you'll lose everything. I finished for him, like I did? This isn't a joke, Nora, I could be sued. Mom's beside herself. Before I could answer, Nicholas appeared with a sharply dressed couple. Nora, the Harisas would love to commission a piece for their foundation. His gaze flicked to Alec. Unless now's a bad time? Not at all, I smiled. Alec was just leaving. He looked at me, truly looked at me, for the first time in years. His fear was raw, unhidden. For once, he was the one asking for help. I sighed. Meet me at my studio tomorrow morning, we'll talk. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I nodded toward the exit. Now, go, before you scare off my collectors. As Alec slipped out, Nicholas arched an eyebrow. Family trouble? Karma, I corrected smoothly, then turned to the Harisas with a polished smile. Now, tell me more about this commission. The rest of the night passed in a whirlwind of sales and congratulations. By closing time, every piece had sold, except Inheritance. I'd marked it not for sale, despite the tempting offers. Brent sighed happily as the last guests trickled out. You're officially our highest-selling debut artist. I hope you realize that. Evangeline, scrolling through her phone, let out a low whistle. And Alex disaster? Blowing up on Twitter. Someone spilled the tea about the project's collapse. It's juicy. I surprised myself by saying, I don't want to ruin him. Nicholas handed me a fresh glass of champagne. You just wanted to be seen. And believe me, Evangeline added, people see you now. 3 other galleries have already reached out, asking about your next collection. My phone buzzed. Mom, is it true about Alex's project? Me, yes. He's coming to see me tomorrow. The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, reappeared. Finally. Mom, can I come too? I turned my screen toward Evangeline. She let out a low whistle. Look at that. She only notices you when her golden boy is in trouble. A month ago, that message would have felt like a victory. Now, surrounded by the proof of my success, it felt different. Nicholas studied me. What are you going to do? I glanced at Inheritance, at the delicate china reflecting flames. Dad used to say art should transform both the viewer and the artist. Maybe it was time for a new transformation. I'm going to help them, I said, but on my terms. Evangeline groaned. You're too nice. I raised my glass with a smirk. No, I'm just ready to write a new story, one where I'm neither the victim nor the villain. This time, I'm the one in control. We clinked glasses as, elsewhere in the city, my brother and mother prepared for tomorrow's reckoning. But this time, I'd be the one setting the rules. They arrived at my studio at exactly 10 a.m., Mom in pearls, Alex still wearing yesterday's suit. I'd set up 3 chairs around my work table, fresh coffee brewing in the corner, morning light poured through the windows, illuminating my latest work in progress. Mom glanced around. Nice space, very artistic. That's the idea. I poured coffee into one of Dad's old gallery mugs. So, I said, sitting down, let's talk about how badly you've screwed up. Alex sagged into his chair. The investors want their money back, all of it. If we can't pay by the end of the month, they're threatening legal action. Mom's voice was unusually thin. And the construction company has put a lien on the property. We could lose everything. I took a slow sip of coffee. You mean like I lost everything? Alec rubbed his temples. I know I messed up. I know I don't deserve your help, but I don't have anywhere else to turn. Mom reached across the table, taking my hand in hers. Her fingers trembled slightly. I was wrong, she whispered. About you, about everything. Your exhibition, it was breathtaking. The way people felt your work. I pulled my hand back. This isn't about my art. This is about Dad's legacy, the one you both erased. Alec leaned forward. We can fix it. Maybe we could turn the space back into a gallery. You could. I don't want Dad's gallery. I cut in. I built my own, but I do have a solution. I stood, crossing to my easel where my latest painting waited, unfinished but powerful. Nicholas has contacts in the art investment world. They're looking for spaces like Dad's, places with history, with soul. Mom's breath hitched. You mean, they'd buy out the investors? Handle the costs? Restore the gallery? Not just a gallery, I corrected. Multiple spaces. A real art center, like Dad always wanted. Alec let out a shaky laugh. That's perfect. When can we meet them? We don't, I said evenly. I handle the negotiations. Mom straightened. Under what conditions? I met their eyes. First, you both sign over all decision-making rights to me. I made the decisions, the tenants, the programs, everything. Second, I continued, 20% of all profits will fund a scholarship for young artists, in Dad's name. Alec exhaled. And the third condition? I met his gaze, unwavering. You both publicly acknowledge the truth, that you were wrong, about me, about art, about everything. No more rewriting history, no more pretending. The silence stretched between us, tense and fragile. That's a lot to ask, Mom finally said. I tilted my phone toward them, displaying the latest news article on their project's failure. Actually, it's nothing compared to what you could lose. Your reputations, your finances, maybe even your freedom if those investors take legal action. Alec shot up from his chair, pacing the studio. You like this, don't you? Watching us squirm? I sighed. No, but I do like finally being heard. He stopped in front of Inheritance, eyes scanning the piece as if seeing it for the first time. This is about that day, isn't it? The tea party, when Mom gave me everything. I folded my arms. It's about every day, Alec. Every time she chose you. Every time my dreams were treated like a phase. Every time Dad's real vision was ignored. Mom let out a shaky breath, silent tears slipping down her cheeks. I truly thought I was doing what was best. You weren't, I said, softer now, but we can still make it right. Not for me, I'm doing fine. For Dad, for what he believed in. Alex sank back into his chair, defeated. How soon do you need an answer? Now, the investors aren't waiting, and neither am I. Mom wiped her eyes and straightened her shoulders. If we agree, you'll help us? Yes, but not because you deserve it. Because Dad's legacy deserves better than a failed shopping mall and a fractured family. They exchanged glances, the same ones they used to when dismissing my artistic dreams, but this time, I held the power. Alex sighed. Fine, we'll do it. All of it. Mom hesitated, then nodded. She reached for my hand. This time, I didn't take it. I'll have the paperwork drawn up tomorrow, I said, standing. Then I glanced at Mom's pearls. You might want to sell those. Could come in handy. As they left, I heard Mom whisper to Alec, when did she get so strong? I smiled, turning back to my unfinished painting. I've always been strong, you just never noticed. The press conference was Mom's idea. If we're admitting our mistakes, she had said, let's do it right. Now, standing outside Dad's old gallery, I watched her step up to the microphone, renovation plans displayed behind her. 6 months ago, she began, voice trembling slightly, I made a terrible mistake. I took my late husband's gallery, his dream, and tried to turn it into something it was never meant to be. In doing so, I failed this community, and I failed my daughter, Nora. Cameras flashed. In the front row, Nicholas scribbled in his notebook, flashing me a quick thumbs up. My husband believed in art, Mom continued. He believed in artists, and our daughter inherited not just his talent, but his vision. Alex stepped up next, visibly uncomfortable. We're officially announcing today that the failed development project will be restructured under Nora's leadership. This space will become the city's largest independent arts center. A reporter's hand shot up. Is it true the original investors are suing for mismanagement? I stepped in smoothly. That matter has been resolved. Our new partnership with the National Arts Investment Coalition ensures this project moves forward successfully. Another reporter turned to me. Miss Mackenzie, your debut exhibition at the Edge Gallery sold out completely. Will you display your work here? I smiled. No, my role isn't as an artist, it's as a director. This space is for new voices, for emerging talents who need what my father once gave me, a chance. After the QA, Mom approached, twisting her hands nervously. Did I do okay? You did great, Mom. And she had, more than I expected. There's something else, she said hesitantly. I sold my pearls, and some other things. I want the money to go toward the scholarship fund. I barely had time to process that before Evangeline came barreling through the crowd. Did I miss the part where they admitted they were terrible? Eve, I hissed. But Mom laughed. Yes, you missed my formal declaration of awful parenting, but I'm sure it'll be on the evening news. Evangeline blinked. Didn't see that coming. Nicholas approached, pressing a folder into my hands. The contractors need signatures before they can start. Tomorrow, I said without hesitation. We're not wasting any more time. Alec cleared his throat. Before that, there's something we want to show you. Mom reached into her purse and handed me an envelope. We found these while clearing out the old office. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Dad at art shows, Dad with young artists, Dad here, in this very gallery, and in so many of them, a little girl with paint-stained hands, looking up at him like he was the art. There's more, Alex said, leading us inside. In the back office, they had restored Dad's old desk exactly as it had been, his coffee-stained planner, the pens scattered in organized chaos, and, sitting proudly in the center, his nameplate. The one I made him in 3rd grade, Art Director Extraordinaire. I traced my fingers over the uneven letters. You kept this? Dad never took it off his desk, Alex said quietly. Not once, in 20 years. Evangeline sniffled. Okay, this is actually kind of sweet, but I'm still watching you both. Mom nodded solemnly. As you should, we have a lot to make up for. Nicholas coughed. Hate to interrupt, but, the contractors? I sat down at Dad's desk, my desk now, and picked up the pen. As I signed, I knew one thing for certain, this was just the beginning. A small sketch caught my eye in the corner of the desk calendar. Dad's unmistakable style. It depicted this very gallery, but reimagined, expansive, filled with light, alive with art and possibility. He drew that the week before he got sick, Mom said softly. He always saw something bigger for this place. I traced my fingers over the lines, then signed the final permit. Then let's make it happen. All of us, together. Alec picked up the nameplate, smirking. Think it's time for a more professional one? Don't even think about it, I warned. Some things should never change. As the others headed out to meet the contractors, I lingered for a moment, taking in the office. Through the window, I could see the gallery, the space that was about to transform, the place where Dad's vision would not only survive but thrive. We did it, Dad, I whispered, and this time, it's even bigger than before. Somewhere between past and future, between loss and restoration, I finally felt it, peace, wrapping around me like a familiar embrace. Opening night hummed with energy. Light cascaded through the new skylights, illuminating works from 20 local artists, each piece carefully chosen by our new selection committee. This is unreal, Evangeline said, straightening my blazer. Look at what you've built. Before I could answer, a young woman hesitated near me, a portfolio clutched against her chest. Her fingers were smudged with paint, just like mine used to be. Miss Nora? She asked, her voice unsure. I'm Sarah, one of the scholarship recipients. I just wanted to say, thank you. Without this opportunity. Let me see your work, I interrupted gently, gesturing toward the nearby table. She laid out her pieces, and as I studied them, I caught sight of Mom across the room, watching with quiet pride. These are incredible, I told Sarah, pausing at one piece in particular, a portrait alive with raw emotion. How would you feel about a solo show in the emerging artist space? Her eyes widened. Me? But I'm not, I've never. Neither had I smiled. Sometimes, all you need is someone to believe in you. She gasped, then ran off to tell her family, pure joy lighting up her face. Nicholas and Alec approached next. The Arts Council is impressed, Nicholas said, scanning his notes. They're already talking about expanding funding next year. Alec nodded, and the Investment Coalition wants to take this model nationwide. They want you to lead the expansion. Let's perfect this one first, I said, watching more guests pour in. Where's Mom? Giving a tour to some university reps, Evangeline pointed. She's actually starting to sound like she knows what she's talking about. I followed her gaze. Mom was explaining a large installation piece with a confidence I hadn't seen before, using art terms she had spent the last few weeks studying. She had thrown herself into understanding this world, the one she had once dismissed so easily. Nora, Sarah's voice rang out. She was waving me over, standing beside a distinguished-looking woman. The dean of the art school wants to meet you. As I moved toward them, I passed the gallery's feature wall, where Inheritance now hung permanently, a reminder of where this journey had started. But beside it, a new piece had been added, Dad's old sketches of the gallery, now professionally framed, displayed alongside photos of what we had built. You know, Mom said quietly beside me, your father would be proud, not just of the gallery, but of you, for everything you've done, for bringing us back together. I raised an eyebrow. Even though I practically blackmailed you? She let out a real laugh, warm, genuine, especially because of that. You fought for what you believed in, just like he always did. Alec joined us, loosening his tie. The caterers need approval for something. Should I handle it? Or do you want to, sis? You do it, I said. You're good at this kind of thing. He looked pleased. These days, he seemed to enjoy managing logistics more than chasing the role he thought Mom had wanted for him. Mom suddenly reached into her purse. I found something else in your father's old files. She handed me a sealed envelope. Dad's handwriting was on the front. For Nora, when you're ready. Inside was a single sketch, me, as a little girl, painting in his gallery, but he had drawn an older version of me too, standing tall, confident. At the bottom, he had written, some people see the art, others make it happen. You, my dear, will do both. He knew, I whispered, he always knew. Of course he did, Mom said, squeezing my hand. He saw you clearly. I was the one who needed glasses. Nicholas appeared, holding a glass of champagne. Hate to interrupt, but they're ready for the ribbon cutting. We gathered at the entrance. Mom, finally seeing me for who I was. Alec, finding his own place in the world. Evangeline, who had always believed in me. Nicholas, who had shared my story. Sarah, representing all the artists who would find their voices here. Would you like to do the honors? Mom held out the scissors. I shook my head. No, together, all of us. As we cut the ribbon, the gallery erupted in applause, but I wasn't thinking about the crowd or the cameras. I was looking at Dad's nameplate, now mounted beside the entrance. Art Director Extraordinaire. Beneath it, we had added a new line. Where dreams take shape. And in that moment, surrounded by family, by possibility, by legacy, I realized something. The best revenge isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something so remarkable that the past becomes just another color in the masterpiece of your future. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.